Team win tonight. Outstanding back and forth affair. That's a very good club. You can see why they have the numbers that they have. It's a dangerous lineup. So no surprise that they had an answer for us as we were trying to score and they were scoring and we were scoring, and it was just one of those games. But there was a couple of outside of some of the big 2-out RBI hits from Jimmy Overtop and Andrew Chufo and Jacob Hinderleiter. There was a couple of really big storylines tonight, and one was Ethan Darden going in and putting 3 zeros up, and in his 3 zeros in the top of the frames, we scored 6 runs in the bottom. So he was a huge part of tonight's win, and great to see him out there with just the body language and the attack and just his demeanor and just attacking the strike zone. Just so good to see. Looking just like a true competitor out there. And then speaking of true competitors, we all knew you couldn't keep Willie Taylor down long, and to think that he got a hit in his very first at-bat of the season and then hasn't gotten a hit since until tonight, and busted out in a major way with 3 homers. But the thing that, again, there's so many things that separate this guy from just being different, but most student athletes in a slump would wear it on their sleeve, and you would have not known it. He's continued to be a great teammate. He's pumped the other guys up. He's continued to work extremely hard, and so you just knew the game was going to come back around to him. So a couple of really good storylines that were the difference in the game tonight, but very proud of both these guys.
All right, questions for players?
Will, did you ever feel like maybe you were pressing a little bit during that slump, or did you feel like it was just right there and some balls needed to start falling for you?
No, not at all. The worm would turn eventually, and just trust the process and just keep playing. That was the main part, and just keep believing. Teammates got my back, the coaches are there for us, and just keep playing as a team. So eventually they would fall, and what a great game, both sides for us tonight.
Ethan, what was working for you tonight?
I would say just pounding the strike zone. I mean, Coach preaches that day in and day out. The best pitching staffs in the world consistently pound the strike zone. So I just kept that in the back of my head and just was trying to stay locked in on Jimmy's glove the whole time.
How's the identity of this pitching staff coming together, and how are you guys kind of finding that identity early here in the bullpen? Or not the bullpen, obviously you start, but...
Yes, ma'am. It's still a little early. I mean, we're still trying to figure out. So some guys got it some days, some guys don't got it some days, but that's what the staff is for. We're here to pick each other up and keep competing.
What's it like to navigate that?
Day by day, really. Whoever's got it's got it that day.
We'll talk about the series you guys have coming up this weekend. Obviously, you've been around this series a lot. What does this mean for the program?
Yeah, it's a big time weekend. It's big time baseball. South Carolina, Clemson, no better matchup in the country. Very good club we're going against this weekend. Obviously, South Carolina guys on this team know how important it is, and it's going to be very exciting. Go down there opening Friday night and a great atmosphere, and then right down the road in Columbia again Saturday, and then coming here on Sunday. One of the best weekends of the year, and so as a player, you just got to enjoy it and live in the moment.
Compare the rivalry from the football side to the rivalry on the baseball side. It's pretty intense both places. You're one of the few that's been able to experience it both ways.
Yeah, very similar. The fans get into it. You got a lot of distractions outside. As a player, you just got to minimize the distractions and focus, the task at hand. So it's very, very fun weekend to play, and going to be some energy that needs to be kind of calmed down as a player, and let that energy work for you. So it's going to be a great weekend.
What does tonight's performance for you do, confidence-wise, kind of getting into the rhythm of what you know you're capable of?
Yeah, just getting the confidence back as a team. Last weekend we dropped a game to these guys before the South Carolina weekend, so That's a good club over there. Credit to them. Got a great lineup, some really good arms in their pen, and so it just gives us confidence going into the weekend, and that's what it's all about in baseball. So can't wait to head down to Columbia on Friday.
Ethan, after experiencing the South Carolina series as a player for the first time last season, how do you view it now?
I'd say it's the best rivalry in sports. I mean, South Carolina versus Clemson, there's no better place to be and no better team to be on than Clemson, I believe. So I feel like hasn't really changed. It's still that high energy, high focus coming into the week, and yeah, same as last year.
Any other questions for the players? All right, thank you, players.
All right, questions for Coach?
Coach, obviously you used Gordon, Darden today. Thoughts going into the weekend as far as your pitching rotation?
We'll have everyone available. Gordon, I think, finished with 60 or so pitches, and Ethan only had like 30. So both those guys will be available, and should have full staff. So yeah, we'll announce a rotation tomorrow, but it'll probably be the same. But having those guys available will be a luxury.
What's it like to go from the first 8 or 9 games that you have in your season that, there's one atmosphere, and then like a switch this weekend, that atmosphere is totally different. Do you talk to your guys about managing the highs and lows in a rivalry like that?
Yeah, it's all part of that uncontrollable. I mean, we spend so much time in this room, discussing mental game and all the things that can get us, off of what we need to be centered on. In this case, it's a very positive, thing, because we get to participate in the best rivalry in college baseball. But there is an element of training of how to handle that, so you don't come all the way off where you perform at your best. And there's going to be a lot of opposing fans and things they'll see online and the media that will take them off of where their best performance is. And so it's just really about staying centered, and the best way we can respect this rivalry is to play our best baseball. And so we have the utmost respect for this rivalry. It's a focus of ours 365 days a year. It's talked about in the very first team meeting. It's a true privilege to be able to participate on a stage with these lights and the stakes that are so high, and it means so much to so many people, and the way we can show that respect is to play well. Whatever happens, just play well. But we don't just start talking about South Carolina this week. It's something that it's Clemson, South Carolina. You could put it up there. It's the best in college baseball. I know there's some other good rivalries out there, Army, Navy, Michigan, Ohio State, but this is the best I've seen in college baseball, and it's not even close.
To be able to have experienced it last year firsthand, speaking on that, I mean, you've coached in some great places, and they all have their own respectful rivalries, but just kind of that first impression of it and your takeaway from that.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the region of the country that we're in. You've got the Braves, but you don't have a whole lot of professional sports, throughout the Southeast. And so you have people that are extremely passionate about their colleges in a very good way. And so, this is a state that's very much divided, and you're either a Tiger or a Gamecock. And so it's, some houses are divided, it's all good. It's a great thing to be a part of when you can be a part of that. So I think it's great for our state, especially when both programs are also very good, and you've got a top 10 caliber matchup, going into it. That's what I remember being here 22 years ago. I mean, it was, two of the top top teams in the country going at it and going at it again in Omaha. And, you know, they got us in Omaha in 2002. But that's it's college baseball. It's Clemson, South Carolina, two of the best.
Some of the guys on this team played for Coach Lee. Lee's now on the other side of that rivalry. What does that dynamic bring to this rivalry when some of these guys were recruited by Monty and, you know, that's who they played for before you came here? What does that dynamic bring?
Yeah, I mean, Monty's a great dude. I've known him for a long, long time, and he's well respected in the coaching community. I think everyone was more, you know, happy that he got to continue to coach, and so, you know, if you're separating out him as a person from the uniform he's wearing, it's, you know, understanding that he's a great person. Now, between the white lines, he's them and we're us, and, you know, the two programs don't like each other, but it's not going to take away from the respect that our players and our coaches have for him as a coach and a person.
What is it to you that makes this rivalry the best in college baseball?
I would say it's the way the state rallies around these two schools, as well as any other state that I've seen in the Southeast, or if not the country, for baseball. You know, baseball's one of those sports that it's not football and it's not basketball, but here in this part of the country, it's a much bigger deal than a lot of other parts of the country. And so for the players that are lucky enough to be a part of one of those two programs where it feels like a football atmosphere, and you feel like you know, this is a big time, high stakes event, and it's talked about all year long, and there's bragging rights for all year long, and it's just, you know, there's going to be packed houses, and you know you got, especially when both teams are good, and so it's just different. It just is. And I think a lot of that has to do with the people that are so passionate about the schools. And you've got Clemson Tigers on one side and Carolina Gamecocks on the other, but it's just good for our sport. It's good for our state when both teams are good and when it's, you know, it's these close battles.
Any other questions for Coach?